As Better Call Saul takes us into the back 6 episodes of its final season and barrels forth on its collision course with the timeline of Breaking Bad, let us linger, not for the first time, on the notion of what remains. When you die or decamp to Omaha under a new identity, as one does, what will be left of you? A closet full of freshly pressed suits, a shard of broken glass in the desert dirt, a memorial slide rule suspended in lucite. And now this, a shoe abandoned on the beach, gently rolling around in the surf beneath a golden, hazy California sky. The shoe's partner is further back, sitting in the sand, and further still, parked haphazardly and with one door still hanging open, is Howard Hamlin's Patrick Fabian Jaguar. On the dashboard sits his wallet and wedding ring. Much like the abandoned home of Saul Goodman, with its closet full of flashy suits and solid gold toilet, these things are not just artifacts, but set pieces. The shoes, the car, the ring on the dash. It all tells a story about who Howard Hamlin was, how he lived, and how he died. But we know, and should not forget, that this story is not true. Anyway, keep that in the back of your mind as we return to the more pressing issue of Lalo Salamanca, Tony Dalton, standing in Jimmy's, Bob Odenkirk, living room with a gun in his hand. Blood is still flowing from the bullet hole in Howard's head, and Lalo is telling Jimmy and Kim, Rhea Seehorn, that they have to focus, which they do, but it's worth noting that Jimmy rises to this occasion in a way that Kim does not. The woman who once stood nose to nose with Lalo and told him, with steel in her voice, "You need to get your house in order," is gone. In her place is a trembling, hyperventilating creature wearing a baby pink hoodie and no shoes. Lalo explains what will happen next. Kim will stay with Lalo at the condo. Jimmy will get in Lalo's car, drive to Gus Fring's, Giancarlo Esposito, house, and use the gun in the glove box to shoot whomever answers the door. He will take a picture of the body and return home within the hour. It is unsaid but strongly implied that if he fails to do this, Kim will be joining Howard on the floor/in the afterlife. Look, obviously this plan is bonkers. As we know, and Lalo undoubtedly does too, there's no way Gus Fring would answer his own door to a would-be assassin in the middle of the night. But Jimmy doesn't know this. All he knows is that he wants to get Kim out of the condo. Send her, he says, and Lalo agrees. Pro tip, guys, if Lalo Salamanca agrees to a change of plans, then that plan was never really the plan. And indeed, as soon as Kim leaves, Lalo zip-ties Jimmy to a chair, stuffs a gag in his mouth, cranks the volume on the television to drown out his muffled screams, and leaves. Still, if Kim hadn't been so shaken by watching Howard die in front of her, and so scared that Jimmy was about to meet the same fate, she might have been smart enough to realize that she was just a pawn in Lalo's long game. Her job, her real job, is not to kill Gus Fring. It's to get caught trying, so that Gus realizes, too late, that he's left the laundry and its secret underground meth lab in progress undefended. And this is exactly what happens, but not before Kim absolutely lights up Mike Ehrmantraut, Jonathan Banks, for his, admittedly atypical, lapse in vigilance. Mike doesn't answer, perhaps because there's no time for that, but also perhaps because the only answer is that Mike screwed up. He underestimated Lalo, and every death tonight, beginning, but by no means ending, with Howard, is a death that might have been avoided. By the time Mike is removing Jimmy's gag and asking where Lalo went and when, it's too late. Gus has already taken the bait, and taken his security team to the laundry where Lalo kills everyone except Gus. Not that he isn't going to kill Gus too. He most definitely intends to do this. But first he needs to finish his demented little documentary film for Don Eladio, Stephen Bauer, illustrating the depths of Gus's betrayal. And down into the pit they go, which is right where Gus, who did not underestimate Lalo Salamanca, always knew they'd end up. And considering the gun that Gus planted at the construction site in a previous episode, and also that only one of these men is still conspicuously alive in the Breaking Bad timeline to come, this scene is so much more tense than it has any right to be. Can Gus really lull Lalo into a false sense of victory with the old villainous monologue trick? Is he really going to be able to grab and fire that gun when it's hidden several yards away? Can Lalo Salamanca, this series' most terrifying monster, really die down here in the dark, a victim as much of his own hubris as of Gus' relentless quest for revenge.